GDP went negative for the second consecutive quarter. If you've been watching our videos, this is no surprise. This means the country is now in a technical recession. Despite this and a host of other troubling data, Janet Yellen says she sees no signs of recession. The thumbnail definition of recession is consecutive quarters of negative output. We now have that. The official determination of whether we're in a recession will come from the National Bureau of Economic Research, or NBER. We may not have their decision for several months. Apparently, Janet Yellen thinks there's nothing for the NBER to even look at. During an appearance last week on NBC's Meet the Press, Yellen stated that you don't see any of the signs now. A recession is a broad-based contraction that affects many sectors of the economy. We just don't have that. No signs? Really? Let's start with the painfully obvious. The U.S. economy has contracted 2 quarters in a row. Consumer sentiment remains near its lowest level in history. We learned the Philly Fed Index contracted for the second straight month. And the S&P Global Flash U.S. Composite Purchasing Managers Index showed contraction in July for the first time since June 2020, the height of the health crisis. I could keep going. Yet, on the day that negative GDP for the second quarter was announced, Janet Yellen doubled down on her position that there's no signs of recession, saying, "When you look at the economy, job creation is continuing. Household finances remain strong. Consumers are spending and businesses are growing." It's true. The employment report indicates more than 300,000 jobs were added in June. However, the same employment report also says the nation lost more than 300,000 individual workers in June. This discrepancy suggests that many of those new jobs were claimed by people who already had jobs and needed another. There's more. Except for the height of the health crisis, labor force participation hasn't been this low in 45 years. And first-time unemployment claims now are at the highest level in about 8 months. As for consumer spending, the data shows there is resilience. However, there is substantial evidence that consumers are tapping savings and credit cards to keep it up. According to a recent Forbes Advisor survey, 2 out of 3 Americans have accessed personal savings to keep spending in the current inflationary environment. And credit card volume at the world's biggest lenders soared 20% in the second quarter. Jay Bryson, chief economist at Wells Fargo, said we should expect to see outright declines in consumer spending by September. Consumers have held the line pretty well in terms of spending, Bryson said, but they've brought down their savings rates and they've increased credit card debt. Those things aren't sustainable in the long run. So why is someone so bright as Janet Yellen denying there's any signs of recession in the same way she denied inflation would become a problem? Is it possible that Janet Yellen's loyalty to the Biden administration influences how she views the economic landscape? You can draw your own conclusions, but do this as well. When it comes to your financial well-being, Look past what political figures and potentially deceiving data say about the economy and rely on your own good judgment. This is why I highly recommend you learn more about what's going on in the economy by attending one of our one-on-one educational web conferences with me and my team at AugustaPreciousMetals.com/webconference.
Hey guys, Joe Montana here with my man Devlyn Steele. He and his team at Augusta Precious Metals are constantly putting out new information to keep you ahead of the game. Click subscribe now and hit the notification bell to stay up to date. You'll be glad you did.